Oh, another one. Come here! Yeah, this may have not been the greatest clip, but the keen eyes under you guys, you will probably have noticed that I tanked 2 punches of the doses without really anything happening to me. Sure, they broke the shield, and sure, I went into last man standing mode, but the whole purpose is that you can't just literally stand in front of them and delete them. Yes, my shots were terrible and I missed most of the Justicar shots with some careful aiming. I guess I would have been able to delete them myself. But anyways, the point is, this build works. And it's not your usual meta build that you might want to go for. You don't have to run any armor bags, you don't need any armor repair kits, you also don't have to mark any enemies, you don't need like the lasers or anything like that. And technically you don't even need to use a shotgun either, you can of course. But this is what I'm using. Once again, I'm using my Civ Commando. It's all optimized for hip firing, so all the things that I have on it are just optimizations to get my hip fire down. I'm using just a silencer because I like the sound a bit more with the silenced guns. And extended mag to just increase the pickups of the ammo drops a little bit further than as usual. But yeah, all the mods here, they're all based off just increasing my hip fire and recoil. And the same goes for the Justicar. The Potshot barrel is just a given because of the increased damage distance. And once again, the silent killer is just because of funsies, because I like stealth guns. And it kind of looks goofy. So, yeah, that is that. You can use pretty much any hipfire gun that works for you. So yes, you can use shotguns if you want. Yes, you can use a deagle. Yes, you can use a chicken knife. It really doesn't matter. Pick whatever suits you best. This worked for me, though I have to admit that ammo is tight. But that's where Sociopath comes in, because usually when the ammo gets a little sparse, that's where I just hit the bat and start killing some cops and run around for ammo. Since Sociopath basically keeps you almost immune for quite some duration, so you can pick up the ammo drops and refill your ammo. Well, even better if somebody brings ammo bags. Even technically, if you really wanted to, you yourself could bring ammo bags, but in terms of survivability and helping out your teammates, I do recommend bringing the medivac, since it especially synergizes really, really well with your build. Again, you don't necessarily have to if you play well, but it just helps the overall gang to stay alive, you know. And the cool thing is, I'll get into skills in just a second, you will constantly get some passive healing with it. Shock grenades, because I just love shock grenades, I just love tossing those grenades at shields, so I don't have to bother with them. And I'm still using the infrasonic mines, just because I like to set up these mines in spots where cops usually tend to trigger the lever to like disable some functionalities that you're currently working on, some objectives or whatever, because then you can just pre-place them there and use them and stun them, so you have some spare time to move up to these guys and kill them before you actually properly pull the lever. One of the greatest examples, I guess, is on Cook-Off with the switch where they turn off the lights and hence stop the cooking. You can just set up the mine there, blow them up, and then you have enough time to run to them and kill them before they actually pull the lever, so you save some time through that. And on top of that, you can also just toss them onto shields and stun them that way, so that's pretty nice too. Since the shield's visors has been buffed a little bit, and it can sometimes be a little bit annoying to get them, although usually you can just run around the shield and kill them from the back, so that's not really too much of an issue. For the armor frame, we're using the Medtach frame, and we're actually not using adaptive armor, we're using the impact armor. The benefit here is that impact armor constantly regenerates, and that especially helps to stay alive around snipers. Yes, the return time takes a moment, but mind you, the plate regen is not actually 3 seconds, it's going to be 2.7 seconds because of one of the skills that we're using. So it's coming down just a notch, and it's usually enough to just face tank the snipers, and they reload and they take another 2.2 seconds to snipe, so it's long enough for your shields to regenerate, or your impact plate to regenerate, I guess, before they can hit you again. Unless, of course, there's other cops around, in which case you might be doomed. But usually you have enough time to get them. And the good thing about this is you really don't care that your armor breaks, because you're just gonna get it back anyways, right? So that's the main difference from impact to adaptive. Yes, you do take a little bit more damage. You might have to take cover sometimes here and there. But Normally, you're staying alive quite well as long as you just kill the cops, especially if you use one of the most broken shotguns at the moment, which is the FSA, which just one-shots everything, or almost everything at least, and just doesn't run out of ammo at all. So if you want to use the easy build, just use the FSA with kind of like anything. But I guess that's the core difference, because most of the people are using adaptive. You can of course still use adaptive and spice it up with some Assassin's Metal stuff, but you don't have to with this build. With this build, you can ignore all the chunky-ass marking crap and I have to pay attention to blah blah blah. It's really just like run in, have fun, dance around, take some cover. Sometimes, if you like hear the shield break, maybe take some cover real quick. But yeah, that's it for the basic stuff, I guess. Now for the skills. My tree is optimized to especially help the noobs, since people are still adapting to the new armor system, and in a little way it got a little stronger, right? The cops do more damage, and the new players, they might not know how it all works and stuff like that, so they tend to go down quite a bit more often. So my usual combo with Medic Aced, with Combat Medic combined, just makes them immune, and you as well for 5 seconds, and on top of that this works with bots too. So the bots will also grant you this like 5 seconds of immunity, which is kind of nice sometimes to like just run around and get something real quick. But you don't really have to use it if you don't want to. It's really just for the general kind of, you know, just kind of like keeping your gang alive, basically. Just give me 1 second. I'm using extra charge just because I'm running medic bags anyways, so this kind of increases just the overall survivability as well. And of course that pairs well with Stockpile to get another 2 charges, and of course the pockets to just get a second medic bag too, so like you're just gonna have a lot of medic bags. The core thing, I'm gonna go back real quick before I continue with the skills because I forgot about something. The Medtach frame passive ability gets overlooked a lot, and I made this one work with your build. It's especially very, very useful on the impact plate, because the thing is, these 40 health points, mind you, a regular first aid kit, it gives you 50 points. 50 plus 40 is 90 points. So you're basically healing up to full every time you use it. So the thing here is, not only is it very useful to just use this, right? You don't need armor repair kits at all. You have the impact plate. Sure, you can just skip the regen time, but it's way much more worth to just live off of health a little more here. Especially because my build has Last Man Standing in it. And Last Man Standing is whenever you have grit and you are normally getting downed, you can use one of these first aid kits not only to fully heal you up, but to refresh Last Man Standing. So essentially, you just get the grit, get down, right? Use the first aid kit, kill another enemy, and you get grit again and you can get down again. So that's kind of like a really, really neat interaction with this build. You have seen it used in the, well, I didn't have a first aid kit on me, but I did use the medic bag that also works to just get my like Last Man Standing immediately back. So there's 2 ways basically, first aid kit and medic bag to just instantly get your Last Man Standing back. And obtaining grit with this build is very, very easy, because the only thing you need to do is if you go down real quick to, should be, I believe, Enforcer. Whenever you kill 2 enemies within 4 seconds that are within 5 meters of you, you gain grit. So it's really, really, really easy. You just need to kill 2 enemies up close, which you're gonna do anyways. So that's basically just a given. And you just have grit back again. So it's really, really simple to just keep grit up. And if you pair that with combat reload, you can just keep constantly refreshing it. The Justicar makes this a little bit tricky because you need to have ammo in your magazine. And the Justicar just runs out of ammo, so feel free to use like a pistol or anything like that. But the Civ Commando especially, and I believe also the FSA, I tested just a little bit, they have so much ammo in the mag that you can usually easily reload it, and it also reloads incredibly fast. Because we are also using quick reload. So as long as you have both grit and edge, you also increase the reload speed. So it's really, really easy. Like if you don't see an enemy real quick, just reload, because the reload is so insanely fast that you just quickly refresh grid and dash. And you can technically, if you really wanted to, just reload in front of the faces of enemies, because it's just so incredibly fast. But yeah, that's kind of like the core mechanic. So we're just gonna go start from the top. I've already showcased you the medic stuff. I've showcased you Last Man Standing. It requires you to put a skill into tank to even use Last Man Standing. However, tank on its own is good anyways, because that's where the regeneration speed of your armor plate comes from. And it's actually 20%, I'm stupid, so the regen time is not 2.7 seconds, it's rather 2.4 seconds. So you're very, very on par for the snipers with reloading and then shooting you again. Then we're using Fortitude to, well, you need to have the basic skill. I'm mainly interested in Health Siphon, which whenever a teammate is using a medic bag, you also get 40% of the amount they healed. So you're constantly basically gaining a little bit of health whenever your teammates are being downed, right? So it just makes sense to revive them and to have them use your medic bag without you using the medic bags. So you're trying to live off the first aid kits as long as you can, unless of course you're getting downed, then you just use the medic bag to just get one down back. And Fortitude is just nice to essentially have some, extra health to stay alive a little bit longer as well. You do notice that extra 50 health, by the way. And another way to basically just have crit or refresh crit in case you ever heal above the maximum health, which can also be triggered by the Sociopath Overskill, just FYI. And then Stockpile we already mentioned. And then we have the classic combo of Transporter, because we just really want to, have those double carry speed stuff, right? So we need Transporter with Beast of Burden for the carry speed and Power Lifter for... Yes, Beast of Burden and Power Lifter if you use 2 bags. So you can counteract that with the Beast of Burden, so you're still fast with 2 bags, right? That's just like common thing to use. It's like basically a go-to thing in like every kind of build. Then for the speed stuff, we have Escapist to get Rush. Battering Ram just to ram through doors because I'm lazy. Swift to gain even more speed, and Disengage in case you do get cloaked and nobody's nearby. You can use Disengage at least once to still stay alive, before actually properly getting down. You can of course also use it against a Sapper, but I advise you against it because usually you can't kill the Sapper with the bullets while you're being sapped. Then yes, I'm still using Mower paired with Ammo Funnel and Replenish. It still helps. Just the overall ammo economy to keep you filled up a little bit so you don't have to run out that much. You don't have to use these, so feel free to use that in the Fortitude build or something. But in my opinion, especially with the Civ Commando, since it's shooting so fast, I'm still getting enough ammo back so that it actually helps to use these. And then Sprint Loaded, because I just don't like walking with reloading, I like sprinting to reload. Then we have the entire thing of Enforcer. I already mentioned that a little bit. We don't have the aced version, we only have the basic version, because you don't need another way to gain edge. We get to that in a moment. There's only one way you gain edge, and that's more than enough. But yeah, that's kind of like the core mechanic to get grit. Quick reload for the faster reloads as long as you have both buff actives. Face to face for the extra 10% damage within 5 meters. You don't have to use it if you use a shotgun, but if you're using the Civ Commando like I do, it actually makes sense to use it, so feel free to use the skill somewhere else. And then we have Solid. As long as you have both edge and grit, you're immune to stagger effects. This is so slept on, I think. This is like a really, really good skill to use, especially if your skills or like your skill build or your entire build, I guess, is based not on armor, but on, well, on armor, yes-ish, I guess, not on adrenaline or resistance plates, but impact plates. Because if you remember, there is a bunch of skills that no longer work with impact plates, such as Clean Slate. Well, you don't need Clean Slate, but also Plate Up and Hardy. Like these two, they don't work with impact plates, so you cannot gain this like instant armor regen stuff, and you also cannot gain the immunity whenever your shield breaks. So dosers, they actually down you incredibly quickly, especially if you get face tanked by them, if they either kick you or if they run into you. So that's why we have Solid in here, to just be completely immune, run up to them. Yes, they may kick you and break your shield, and yes, they may maybe do a little bit of damage to you. But with the Justicar, 4 shots to the head and they're dead. So they're really a choke. You can really just run up to them, shoot 4 shots in the head. If you hit them, not like in my clip where I missed. But if you hit them, the doses are just a complete choke. On top of that, it also works against shields. So the shields are also not that much of an issue. And no, it does not work against cloakers. And then the combat reload I already mentioned. It's just for a faster reload, basically. As long as you still have ammo. No, not faster reload, sorry. The refreshment of the buffs edge grid. Which are kind of like your core thing to keep up, in a way. So, Gunslinger is the main way you get edge. The only thing you have to do is just swap weapons. So that's why it's incentivized to sometimes swap to the Justicar, get a few kills in, and swap back to the to your primary Swift Command or FSA or whatever that's gonna be, just to gain your edge buff again. And then from the hip, just to decrease the hip fire spread. That especially helps for my case with the Swift Commando, since that basically makes that thing a laser, which is really, really cool to use. And well, that's it. We don't need anything further down below. But that's my entire build. If you're interested, I'm going to use this build probably a lot of times now. It feels very, very comfortable. As mentioned, there is more OP builds out there that like just generally keep you alive. I'm not here for that. I'm only here for the intense speed in the heist, so that you're very, very quick. And that you can be pretty reckless, and you don't have to like pay attention to like throwing grenades to mark things or use lasers to mark things and all that kind of crap, so you can just completely ignore that. But yeah, hope this helps, and hope you enjoy and have fun with the build.